1. Definition and objectives of foreign policy. Introduction. Foreign policy represents a nation's strategic framework for interacting with other countries, international organizations, and global entities. It encompasses the strategies, decisions, actions, and guidelines that define a nation's external engagements, shaping its position and relations in the international community. Foreign policy is instrumental in maintaining national sovereignty, security, economic prosperity, and global influence. B. Definition of foreign policy. Foreign policy can be defined as the collective strategies and courses of action adopted by a nation's government to achieve specific international goals, safeguard national interests, and fulfill its international obligations. It includes diplomatic initiatives, economic agreements, defense strategies, cultural exchanges, humanitarian aid, and multilateral cooperation. Hans Morgenthau defines foreign policy as the art of bringing the ends of a nation into harmony with its means and capabilities. It is essentially a nation's expression of its interests, values, and goals on the international stage, influencing its global status and relationships. C. Components of foreign policy. Diplomacy. Diplomacy is central to foreign policy and involves negotiating, communicating, and managing relationships between nations to prevent conflict and resolve disputes peacefully. Effective diplomacy strengthens alliances, promotes mutual understanding, and advances national interests without resorting to military action. Economic strategy. Economic strategies within foreign policy encompass trade agreements, tariffs, investments, sanctions, foreign aid, and bilateral or multilateral economic partnerships. These policies aim to boost economic growth, secure resources, expand markets, and create stable international economic environments. Security and defense. Security policy involves maintaining national security through military preparedness, defense alliances, counterterrorism efforts, intelligence cooperation, and strategic deterrence. Nations prioritize territorial integrity and the safety of their citizens when developing security strategies. Cultural and soft power. Cultural diplomacy, including educational exchanges, cultural promotion, and international broadcasting, enhances a nation's soft power. Soft power allows a country to influence international opinion and behavior through attraction and persuasion rather than coercion. Humanitarian assistance. Foreign policy often includes humanitarian aid in response to international crises, such as natural disasters, conflicts, and pandemics. Humanitarian assistance showcases a nation's goodwill, supports global stability, and fosters positive international relations. D. Objectives of foreign policy. National security. The primary objective of foreign policy is to ensure national security. This includes protecting national borders, preventing external threats, and maintaining sovereignty. Governments employ diplomacy, military capabilities, alliances, and international cooperation to safeguard national security. Economic prosperity. Foreign policy aims to enhance economic prosperity by securing favorable trade terms, promoting foreign investment, gaining access to critical resources, and participating effectively in global economic institutions, such as the World Trade Organization (WTO), promoting peace and stability. Nations adopt foreign policies aimed at promoting international peace and stability through conflict resolution, peacekeeping operations, diplomatic mediation, and support for international law and norms. Peaceful international environments allow nations to thrive economically, socially, and politically. Influence and power projection. Countries often use foreign policy to enhance their global influence and project power. This can be achieved through strategic alliances, active participation in international organizations, military presence, economic strength, and soft power initiatives. Advancing national values. Foreign policy reflects and promotes a nation's core values, such as democracy, human rights, rule of law, and environmental protection. Nations actively engage in advocacy, diplomacy, and international cooperation to uphold these values globally. Development and humanitarian goals. Foreign policy supports global development and humanitarian objectives, aiming to reduce poverty, promote sustainable development, respond to humanitarian crises, and support international development programs. This fosters global stability and aligns with broader ethical responsibilities. Enhancing diplomatic relations. Strong diplomatic relations are essential for successful foreign policy. Effective diplomacy builds trust, manages disagreements constructively, facilitates cooperation, and sustains long-term partnerships with other nations and international bodies. F. Determinants of foreign policy. Geopolitics and geography. Geographical location significantly influences foreign policy priorities. As nations respond to regional security concerns, resource availability, and proximity to allies or rivals. Economic capacity. Economic strength determines the extent and influence of a nation's foreign policy. Wealthier nations typically wield greater international influence and can actively shape global economic policies. Military capability. Military strength directly affects foreign policy strategies, particularly in security and defense. Nations with strong military capabilities can deter adversaries, secure alliances, and influence international affairs. Domestic political environment. Internal political factors, including public opinion, political institutions, interest groups, and leadership style, shape foreign policy priorities and decision-making processes. International system. The nature of the international system, unipolar, bipolar, multipolar, also affects foreign policy. Nations adapt their strategies based on the existing international order, alliances, and global norms. Historical experiences. Historical events and experiences significantly shape national perceptions, attitudes, and foreign policy behaviors. Past conflicts, colonial experiences, alliances, and diplomatic achievements profoundly impact present policies. G. Implementation of foreign policy. Foreign policy is implemented through a combination of diplomatic engagement, economic initiatives, military operations, strategic alliances, multilateral cooperation, and cultural diplomacy. Embassies, consulates, diplomatic missions, international summits, and participation in international organizations facilitate foreign policy implementation. Conclusion. Foreign policy remains crucial in shaping a nation's international presence, securing national interests, and fostering global stability. By clearly defining objectives such as national security, economic prosperity, global influence, peace promotion, value, advocacy, and humanitarian support, nations can strategically navigate complex international landscapes. Understanding and effectively managing foreign policy not only strengthens a nation's global position, but also contributes significantly to international peace, cooperation, and mutual understanding.